Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HP Podcast, episode number 339. I'm Ben, and with me here today are the beautiful boys, Dave and Brandon. Brandon, you're even more, I shouldn't say more beautiful. You were beautiful before, but you're just as beautiful today. How long ago did you cut off your manhood? I mean, your beard.
Last week, yeah. I wanted to try something different. We talked about this a bit on the show last week, but you were away.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the first time in like a decade I've seen the skin on the side of my face.
How do you feel about it?
At first I was really uneasy about it. And
Mm.
now that it's starting to grow in on the sides a little bit more, I feel a little bit better. I don't like the skin look, the like pure down to the skin look. But now that it's starting to grow in a little bit, more five o'clock shadowy, I'm much more accustomed to it. This is what I used to rock all the time in high
Yeah.
school when I couldn't really grow much else. So
Now, I just have to ask, you said more 5 o'clock shadowy. How long has it taken you to grow a 5 o'clock shadow?
um
Because, like, what did it look like by 5 o'clock that day?
little stubbles, but like not my facial hair is not like super dense, right? It's super dense on my upper lip and my chin. And that's where it's most dense. So it's like less dense on the sides, but it does grow. It's just not
So it's
as
more like
noticeable.
a 7 to 10 day shadow that
Yes,
you're
correct.
getting used to.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Gotcha. I just had to ask.
Mhm.
Well, you look good, buddy.
Ooh. Thank you. Jesus. Trying to talk with shit in my mouth.
uh, Davey, how are you?
It's been a weird week for me.
Yeah.
I've been off work this week and we're having our floors all ripped out from our house. So, I mean, all you can see behind me is a rug, but there is shit everywhere. So, I'm in my basement right now. Pretty much everything in the main floor and the top floor had to kind of come down here because it's the only place we're not doing the floors. So, yeah, speaking from a point of privilege, because I'm doing renovations on my house, but it's short term pain, and I'm in the short term pain part right now. I'm the kind of person who needs, before I can kind of relax at the end of the day, I need the dishes washed, everything needs to be put away, all my daughter's toys put away, everything kind of neat and orderly. And when you can't live in an environment like that, for me anyways, it's a very stressful thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been weird. But we've all moved before, so when you first move into a new house and there's just shit everywhere,
Hmm.
same thing. So
Yeah. I get it. I get it. I've also had a weird week, but not because of rugs on my floor. I don't know if you can tell my eye. It looks a lot better now than it did. This eye is like very red and a little bit inflamed. Last week, probably like starting on Sunday, I was like, oh, my eye's starting to itch. And then probably once or twice a year, I get like, my eye just goes crazy. It almost feels like pink eye, but it's just allergy related. And this time I was going away for a work trip. I was going to be with all my like coworkers. We all work remotely, but we get together once a year. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the doctor and get a prescription for pink eye, conjunctivitis, whatever, just in case it's pink eye. That way I'm not contagious to anybody because I'm not missing this trip and I don't want to put anybody in danger. But so like that had been going for like a full 24 hours and it was feeling a little better, which usually clears up in a couple days. And I wasn't sure if it was the medicine or something else entirely. But as soon as I landed in Alabama, that's where I went. My eye was like totally clear. Maybe a little bit itchy for like the first day or two or not. And I was like, okay, it's definitely allergies. And I thought, well, usually when I get it, it goes away within a couple days, so I'll be fine. Flew home like 3 or 4 days later. Within 24 hours, my eye was itching and red all over again. So it's definitely allergies,
it's Pennsylvania.
but it's driving me crazy. So it looks a lot better than normal. That eye is kind of lazy anyway. Not, I don't have a lazy eye, but like my eyelid droops a bit. So it's just making it worse.
Damn.
I don't like it.
Did you get like eye drops or something to help moisturize it, or like allergy drops or something?
Bro, I got Claritin knockoff here. I got allergy drops I got prescription ofloxacin, whatever that they give you for conjunctivitis.
Ben's the eye dealer right now.
I got olipodine, which is an OTC drug that's supposed to help with that kind of stuff. I got it all, baby. And I usually have most of this stuff a couple times a year just to try to like stop the itching. And it actually feels better right now than it has in like 3 days.
God, my eyes itching now. We're talking about this.
But it's just so annoying that like it was happening. I went away. It got better. I came back. Disaster. Pennsylvania hates me. And I hate it.
Damn.
For what it's worth, I didn't notice it until you mentioned it, and I actually knew about it before. But
yeah.
Do you think it's your dog?
I mean, I've had him for 2 years. I feel like I would have noticed by this point if it was him.
True.
Yeah.
Seasonal.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it could be. I've had this problem though longer than he's been alive, so it's unlikely.
Summertime allergies, it sounds like.
Yeah, it usually happens in like April and again in July, which it's July now, so that adds up. But
Right.
it's interesting because I never really had allergies of any kind until I, got into my mid 30s. And then my body was like, guess what, idiot? Here you go.
It's time.
So it does cause a little bit of sensitivity to light, but only because I like it's so so irritated. So anyway, that's been my life. It's really hard to do anything when you can't, like when you work on a computer all day and you can't see or like don't want to look at the computer because you can't see. Makes it tough. Getting all choked up thinking about it. You're muted, Brandon.
Sick, for God's sakes. Do you think the maybe the eye strain, the eye fatigue is probably making it worse?
It's probably not helping it, but like my options are.
You don't have an option. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like still,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah.
You have typewriter.
But what would I be typing?
Well, emails and stuff,
That's true.
No, Dave. That's just regular mail.
Because his eye was good when he was not working at a computer, predictably.
But I was looking at a screen when I was gone.
Okay. Forget the typewriter then. That won't work.
Yeah.
Scratch that.
Uh,
Back to the drawing board, Dave.
yeah. It's funny because you said about emails and like my first week when I started at this company, they were like, everything we do is either in Slack or in this other project management software. You have an email, but like, don't worry about it. Nobody ever emails anybody here. And I was like, nice. That's not 100% accurate. Like, and that wasn't meant to be a 100% accurate statement, but I email far less than I do anything else. It's kind of nice.
That's nice.
I like the real-time conversation.
Do you email,
Slack.
Brandon? Do you have emails at work?
Yeah, I do. I don't really. We mostly use Slack. Actually, is what my company uses. So, which was good. I was familiar with the software because we previously used that. But
Yeah, little fun tidbit for the audience, which I know everybody loves. We used to use Slack as Handsome Phantom, and we used it pretty heavily when we were like really into doing more writing and reviews and videos and everything. And then finally, we hadn't used it really almost at all for a year. And I was like, you know what? I use Discord for everything. Let's just go over to Discord. Let's transfer everything. And so within like 2 months after that, I had to get a new job, and that company is like, we exclusively use Slack. And I was like, oh, good. Okay. I'll go back.
I still accidentally log into the Handsome Phantom Slack every now and then, and I think most of the messages are gone because they only stay there for like 3 months, but I still see all of the channels. And we had like a fantasy critic channel that we set up at one point we never did anything with, but
yeah, it was one of those things where somebody suggested, I was like, sure, let's do it just for fun. And then nobody ever made their team, so it just sat there. But yeah, if you pay for it, you can see Slack for as long as you want. And it's so funny because it's like they're intentionally just, I mean, maybe it's stored in like deep storage or something, but they have all that data. Like the other day I like literally had to go in and retrieve an old document, and I just signed up for a month. We had credit on the HP account, and I signed up for a month of premium, didn't have to pay for it, went in, got the things I needed, left, canceled the subscription. It was like a 72-hour thing. But like all that stuff was there. But as soon as I canceled the subscription, within seconds, it was like, if you upgrade, you can see this.
They're just paywalling, dude. That's
Yeah,
all
of
it is.
course. I get it. You got to make money somehow. Speaking of which, this is the HP podcast, and if you want to help us make money, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/handsomephantom. It's not a lot of money, and in all honesty, it really just makes us feel nice. But if you want to help support us for as little as $1 a month, we would appreciate it. Ad-free early access to audio listeners, and a warm, tingly feeling in your heart for everybody else. You can also join us on Discord, handsomephantom.com/Discord. We'd appreciate having you there as well, just to hang out and chat and talk about rumors of Nintendo Directs that will never happen, Derek. Speaking of Derek, he says, R.I.P. Hulk Hogan. I know he's looking up at us and smiling right now. Okay. Yeah, R.I.P. Hulk Hogan. He'll probably still be in chat, though. I don't think death's going to keep Hulk out of the chat.
The ghost of Hulk Hogan.
And then he said, we could organize a fantasy critic in the Discord next year.
Are you volunteering?
Yeah, Derek, you could set that up if you want. Since, I don't know, it might get tricky because I do occasionally... there may be games that I'm working on that could potentially appear there. So, I don't know. Be a little dicey, but it's probably fine. Set it up. And I'll set up my team and then forget about it for an entire year. Have at it. Boys, you want to talk about some video games?
Let's do it.
Brandon, you just did the I offer you, you give me.
Absolute cinema.
All right. Sony is suing Tencent for allegedly ripping off the Horizon video games. This comes by way of Reuters, so you know it's serious. Sony Interactive has sued Tencent for copyright and trademark infringement in California federal court, accusing the Chinese tech conglomerate of ripping off its popular Horizon series of adventure video games. Sony said in a lawsuit filed on Friday that Tencent's upcoming Light of Mataram is a Slavish clone of its games that copy several distinctive Horizon elements and threatens to confuse buyers. Spokespeople for Tencent and attorneys and spokespeople for Sony did not immediately respond to requests for comment on Monday. Sony released the first game in Horizon. We all know about Horizon, whatever. Sony did say in its complaint that it declined an offer from Tencent to collaborate on a new Horizon game last year. Tencent later announced Light of Mataram, which Sony said features identical gameplay, story themes, and artistic elements to Horizon, as well as many other similarities. Sony said that video game journalists have characterized Light of Mataram as a knockoff of Horizon, including one who called the game Horizon Zero Originality. They asked the court for an unspecified amount of monetary damages and an order blocking Tencent from violating its intellectual property rights. Go ahead, Brandon. What were you going to say?
No, I just said got him because that was a sick burn.
Oh, yeah.
Horizon Zero Creativity. Was that it?
That was the story.
That was it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a bunch of people reporting about this, and a lot of them were doing like a side-by-side photo of the Horizon looking out over like one of the key artworks, and then one of the key artworks from this other new game from Tencent. And I'm going to be honest with you, it was on Twitter on my phone. I had to click on the photo and zoom in because originally I thought it was two photos of Horizon.
It's the same picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally the Jim and or the Pam in the office. They're the same thing meme. So there's no doubt that this is like clearly visually a ripoff, and that's kind of what it's looked like from the beginning. But I wonder if they're gonna have grounds. Like, I don't know legally. Obviously, I'm not a legalese, but I wonder how close you can get to something before you actually are in sue range. Does anybody have any idea? Does it seem like they have grounds? I mean, obviously visually, right? And we're looking at things like this through like Pocket Pair and everything like that. Like visually, it looks similar. But we're seeing that Nintendo is having a hard time actually pushing this through. We just talked about this last week. Well, I saw articles about it last week. We didn't end up talking about it on the show. But Nintendo's having problems with it going through. And I wonder if they're going to have the same problem. Unless there's something more blatant aside from just visually looking the same and playing the same. I mean, tons of games visually look the same and play the same. Maybe not to this degree. This seems like really egregious. But I don't know, boys. What do we think? I legitimately think it's incredibly, like, unbelievably close visually. Like, probably too close for comfort. But does that mean that this sort of thing is going to hold up in a court of law?
I'll throw it to Dave here in a second, but I will say one article I saw or headline or something elaborated that it's not just that the key art looks the same or that the world looks the same, but the story is the same, the gameplay is the same. It's like Bizarro Horizon, essentially.
Okay.
So it's the same game. It's just got a different name and slightly different art, apparently. Dave, what do you think about all this?
I think to first kind of answer Brandon's question, I think what Sony will need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt is that Tencent is profiting off of IP confusion. Now, I don't know if they have to prove that Tencent is doing this intentionally, but if Sony can prove that whether they meant to or not, Tencent has made a game that is going to make money because people are going to think it's related to Horizon Zero Dawn or Forbidden West or anything else in the series, then I think that's generally where the precedence is. And I think these court cases go back a long time, and McDonald's had precedence on something like this once where it was just like, it wasn't intentional, but it was close enough where people were mistaking something for a McDonald's light. So I think that's kind of where it's going to be. And I saw the same key art that you mentioned, Brandon. I think it's our thumbnail for the show today. But if you go on the Steam page for Light of Motrium or whatever it's called and watch the trailer, like if I had have known, I would have thought I was looking at some sort of weird Horizon like mobile spin-off or something. Like it's not just robot dinosaurs. It's like the glowing orange eyes. It's like the sort of mechanical headdresses that the like tribal headdresses that everybody's wearing. Like it is pretty clearly meant to be something that is, I'll be nice about it and I'll say it's heavily inspired by Horizon. But I think the twist in this story is that kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. And I'd love to know more about what actually happened is that Tencent actually approached Sony about some sort of collaboration with this very series, which Sony turned down. So is this kind of the product of that proposed partnership? It certainly seems so, but and Ash in our chat just kind of says it seems blatant. So I think Sony has a slam dunk here. What I'm curious is what's going to happen if Sony does get a ruling in its favor. Are they going to prevent Tencent from even launching this game? Looking on Steam, this game doesn't actually have a release date. So, we've seen games further in development get canceled altogether. So it seems like that's likely. But is there a scenario where like Tencent could release the game, but all of the profits would be redirected to Sony? Or would it be like a fixed rate damage? Or I don't know. I suspect this game is not going to get released because this seems pretty blatant. And, Sony, they're not Nintendo, but they still have the resources to come after anybody from a legal standpoint. So, yeah. But Brandon, have a look at the Steam page later because it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I just looked at. I just skimmed through the video real quick while you were talking. That's something else, boys.
Yeah.
And that is, I actually didn't know that going into this, that they had proposed something beforehand. Which actually adds a layer altogether that is funny. That's like Pocket Pair coming to Nintendo and being like, hey, well, Niantic, whatever.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's blatant and it's obvious. Here's what I'll say. This is a clear win for Sony in my book. I don't have any idea how laws actually work on a larger level, but like this is obviously not okay. But I will say this. Sony, You get what you deserve. Because how many rip-off games of other games has Sony allowed to be on PlayStation that are exactly like some other indie game, and they are just like, oh, it just works like that. That's how that they gave us, they gave us the game and we put it up. And people fight to get those games down, and Sony and Xbox, to their credit, Nintendo does usually take action, but Sony and Microsoft generally just like, oh, whatever. I think the only time I can remember in recent past, at least that made headlines, that anybody took any action, there was the Last of Us ripoff, and there was the God of War ripoff on Xbox. And that's 2 in like the last 5 years, and there are dozens, if not hundreds more, that are just low effort reskins. Now, this doesn't look low effort to me.
No.
Maybe it doesn't look AAA, but it looks like there's actually been some work put into it. But take this as a lesson to yourselves, Sony and every other platform holder. Quit letting knockoffs on there, because you don't like it when it happens to you. That's all I got to say about that. Anything else, boys? Derek says if Sony wins, Tencent will just launch it in China and still sell 20 million copies. There is not a lot of doubt in my mind that they would still launch it in China if they're able to do so. That would be pretty predictable, actually. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. This one comes by way of mpfirst.com. It says Battlefield 6 is ditching last-gen consoles. EA accidentally confirms release date. This article came out 6 days ago, so almost a week. And we're pretty near to another reveal of some more Battlefield stuff. But it says, with today, last week's, official reveal of Battlefield 6, more info about the game is slowly coming out of the woodwork, and the latest development we've spotted should make a lot of Battlefield fans happy. It seems the new Battlefield game won't be releasing on last-gen platforms such as PS4, Xbox One, based on info we've gleaned from the shooter's official pages, even if EA hasn't officially announced it. With today's official reveal of Battlefield 6, publisher Electronic Arts has also launched the game's platform pages so gamers can wishlist the game. If you check out the Battlefield 6 page on EA's website, there is only an Xbox Series version mentioned, and no Xbox One, which confirms the game won't be available for last-gen platforms. There's a lot more here, but we don't need to go into it. I wanted to talk about the fact that it's not going to be on older consoles, and then also just in general, you guys' thoughts on BF6, and if you're looking, talk. That's what I'm trying to say. Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, we've been having this conversation for years about things like, I remember us talking a lot about Destiny about this and how they didn't ditch the last gen's console, and it kind of, gave them a lesser product for the fact it wasn't as feature heavy. So I think this is a really good move for them, especially after the blunder that was 2042. I think they really have something to prove coming out of the gate here. I think that the Battlefield series has kind of been on a large downward swing, and I think they know that people are interested in the modern shooter version of their games, especially since it's been quite a while since we've got something like this. I've seen some early footage of this. Is it out in beta? Is it out to certain people?
There's like a closed play test that
Okay.
a lot has been leaked from.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen some footage. And obviously it looks early. People were criticizing it, but it is early. But I am heavily interested in this. Battlefield 4 was my shit. I even thought that Battlefield 2042, with all of the problems that it had, having played it significantly after launch, I actually thought it was a fine product as well. But I think and I hope that they realize that they're kind of at a tipping point here. I don't know that the Battlefield series can have another shitbird reaction or like a shitbird entry. So I think they really want to knock this out of the park, and I don't have very much confidence in EA. In fact, I have almost none at all. But I think that it's kind of a dire situation. So I'm hoping the fact that they're on their deathbed, so to speak, kind of really kicks them in the ass here. And they took all of the strange ridiculous shit that they did in 2042 and kind of turn around and don't do that anymore. So yeah, I'm very excited for this. I hope it's going to be great. I want it to be great because, like I said, Battlefield 4, one of the best, and I have very, very, very fond memories of it. And I'm just kind of hoping to recapture that a little bit. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. They do not have to reinvent the wheel, and I think that's what people have been asking for. I think they did some interesting things with the whole weather mechanics and everything in 2042. I thought that was cool, but at the end of the day, I think people would have traded that one cool mechanic for a better game. Like if they just would have fucked off and spent all of the development time they took to do all that weather sim shit and like put it into the game, and it would have been better at launch.
Leaderboards.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Come on,
like obviously,
be realistic.
there was so much wrong, right? And it took them well over a year for it to be in any sort of decent state. So I'm not very hopeful, but I want this to be the resurgence of Battlefield, man. I really do. I really, really do.
Radix says, "Is this Battlefield's last chance?" And that's something I was going to touch on. It seems to me like, I mean, I don't know how many copies 2042 sold. I know that it wasn't well received, at least at launch, for sure. But it does feel to me like if Battlefield can't dig themselves out of the hole they were in, then there's probably going to be some serious like issues with greenlighting another game in the series. I said I wasn't going to play Battlefield again until they did another Bad Company game. But I got to say, I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty for a Battlefield game.
Bro. I'm so thirsty.
I need a good shooter for sure. I'll talk about it later, but I've been playing some Warzone lately, and it's not exactly, it's not Battlefield, but it's scratching an itch right now for sure. Dave, what do you think? I think you're a Battlefield guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so. I'm kind of like you. I've got a lot of fond memories of the Bad Company days, both the campaign and just the kind of focused multiplayer from that game. And Brandon, I don't know if you saw this, but there was actually a full trailer reveal last week for Battlefield 6, and the bad guy looks a lot like you. Like,
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So, yeah, the fact that we're getting a campaign that's been confirmed that Battlefield 6 is going to, I believe it's been confirmed that it's launching with a campaign, but in 2025, those are details that we need to confirm because, you never know. But yeah, I'm ready to get hurt again. There's this hype cycle that we go through with Call of Duty and we go through it with Battlefield, but it's on a much longer scale. And, I've forgotten the pain of 2042, and I'm at this part of the clock now where it's like, I'm hyped up and let's fucking go. October release date is a surprise because I thought this was going to come early next year, but I think this is a pretty good time for Battlefield to strike because it seems like, generally speaking, people have gone a little bit cold on Call of Duty, and we're getting another Black Ops this year. The funny thing is as I was kind of thinking about saying all this, I was like, I swore I can remember saying the exact same thing when Battlefield 2042 came out like 2 or 3 years ago. But I think the update is it's weird that not getting last gen versions is news 5 years into the life cycle of the PS5 Xbox Series generation, but this is just where we are because it's been such a weird transition. But ultimately I think it's a really good thing, and it's an especially good thing for EA and DICE because, as we remember from 2042, it was a bit of a rocky launch. So if DICE is getting the time to focus on just current gen consoles, then I think that will ultimately be a better thing for the launch of this game because Battlefield is known for not having really good launches. So I think this is a positive update. But yeah, I'm hyped up. I'm ready to go. This looks like it's a refocused kind of going to go back to the Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 kind of battlefields that we all know and love. And you're right, no gimmicky weather stuff, just destruction, big big settings and hundreds of players, and they're going to try a battle royale again. So we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, I'm excited for this. It's going to be a good one, I think.
Dave,
I don't want to sidestep, but Do we think the lack in the transition between generations is just because of the install base? That has to be it, right? Like they've sold a shit ton of PS5s, but I think there's still such a large player base on these old consoles that these companies have a hard time justifying it. But I think maybe with companies like this, they kind of look in the eyes of this and be like, maybe part of the reason we had so many problems was because of what Dave just mentioned. You know what I mean?
I think in 2022, when I believe 2042 launched, like you had to launch on both generations.
Right,
Because you're right. There
right.
was just so few people who, had a PS5 or had a Series X. Everybody was still kind of hanging back. So if you were to go exclusively next gen in 2022, you were kind of shooting yourself in the foot. Now, Battlefield games have long tails. They're not games that necessarily need to sell gangbusters in the first 3 months like a Call of Duty, because they're going to be out for 3 years and they're going to be the main game for several years. So I don't think it's as bad, but in 2025, you got to go only current gen. Just
It's
doesn't make
time.
sense to go back.
Yeah,
right?
it's time.
I was talking about this with somebody else the other day, and Dave, you mentioned 2 or 3 years ago, and then you mentioned 2022. Battlefield actually came out, 2042 actually came out in 2021, which makes us ancient because it doesn't feel like that long. I genuinely thought it was like 18 months ago. So
It does feel like a quick turnaround, doesn't it?
it does. Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking it was less about how quick of a turnaround it felt like and more about how old we are. If that makes sense.
Kind of both, right?
I would say that talking about the generational thing with Battlefields, ever since Bad Company 2, they've really leaned in more to the destructible environment stuff, and that's a long time ago now. But I would think that if they're doing anything modern graphics with that level of destruction, they need the power of those newer consoles. Like, I'm sorry, dude, 12 years since the base PS4 came out? Ain't no way I want to play a game, a brand new game that could have run on that. No, don't get me wrong. I love playing indies. I love playing games that graphics don't matter. Whatever. That's not what I'm saying. If I'm playing a brand new Battlefield game, I don't want one that could run on a 12-year-old machine.
It
Right.
would be fun to hear that fan, though, wouldn't it?
No.
You would
I'd be
hear
deaf.
it down the block. You would tell if your neighbors booted up Battlefields,
Are you guys are you are you guys Medal of Honor fans? David Merlino says, "What do I have to do to get remakes of the first 3 Medal of Honor games?" I played that first Medal of Honor game.
I've never played Medal of Honor.
Me neither.
I played that first one. I played another one at some point on PS1 or PS2. The first one I definitely played on PS1. I don't remember. I remember some like scenes from it very vividly, and I remember like some jump scares I had while I was playing it. Not that it was like a scary game. It's just like, guys came out around the corner and scared me. I remember liking Medal of Honor, but I haven't played it in years.
Who owns that?
Is that Activision? No, that couldn't have been Activision. No, that wasn't. Definitely wasn't.
Honor. Yeah, EA does. No wonder. Yeah,
EA.
they. I don't know. At that rate, I feel like the the Battlefield series, maybe even in its lull now, far surpassed that series, and so I don't know that it'd make a whole lot of sense for them to make something in that vein right now to compete with themselves. But
They tried with Warfighter, and there's a couple other ones. They had like a VR one as well. Just didn't work out.
yeah,
Let's move on to the next Halo Infinite esports update. This comes from HaloWaypoint.com, and it says, when HCS first started in 2014, we were competing on Halo 2 Anniversary, which delivered our first season champions and evil geniuses along with so many historic moments. Just a year later, we moved into Halo 5 Guardians, which ushered in a new era of competition, as well as the Halo World Championship format. And in 2021, the Halo Infinite launch brought Halo esports into a new echelon. Over the next few months, HCS will host the 2 planned majors, as well as the almost sold out and highly anticipated Halo World Championship on October 24th through 26th. Once a world champion is crowned in October, the HCS will be retiring Halo Infinite from official HCS competition. This means we will still support Halo Infinite and the tournament scene in 2026, but HCS will be moving on from Halo Infinite for official competition following this year's Halo World Championship. As the studio continues to shift more and move towards the next era of Halo, we feel this is the right time for official HCS competition to move on from Halo Infinite. Year 4 will be the final official HCS events for Halo Infinite, and now's your last chance to be part of this momentous chapter of Halo esports history. Interesting, Dave. They do mention somewhere in the article, I closed it already, I don't remember where it was, but this is the longest they've supported a single Halo game for esports. But that seems whack to me.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm more does this signal something coming next year for the 20th anniversary of Xbox that maybe we don't know about yet? Is that also why Battlefield is potentially coming out a little bit sooner than we thought it would? Maybe there are those within the industry who know something that I'm just saying, like, we've got Gears of War coming next year. What better way to usher in 25 years and celebrate 25 years of Xbox than with Halo?
Yeah.
And, you know, they mentioned that, you know, the world championship for Halo happens in the fall. That'd be a great time to launch a new Halo. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little ambitious here, but there have been rumblings out there that next year is going to be a huge year for Halo. And, you know, considering what happened with Infinite and how it, you know, we kind of feel like maybe it was put out into the world a little bit too early, and there was a number of delays and stuff like that. Maybe this also explains why Infinite was so poorly kind of supported. Maybe, you know, the new Halo has been in the works for longer than we think, and it is coming next year. So I'm just spreading rumors here, but perhaps that's why you know, the Halo World Championship is moving on from Infinite. And this seems quick to me. I know you said, you know, from the article, it's the longest a single game has ever been supported, but it I don't know, it seems odd. The timing is right for something new. So I don't know. It's also sad to think that, you know, this is probably part of the death of Infinite, because there was so much hype, you know, for this game, and I think the structure and the bones of a really good Halo were there. It just, again, it was so poorly supported. So it's sad to see, but it's kind of promising to think what might come next. And again, next year might be a perfect time for some new Halo. And same with Battlefield, I'd be ready to get hurt again. So
Derek mentions that Phil Spencer teased the Halo CE remake, and that's kind of what I was thinking as well, is that we're not probably going to look at a new Halo. I mean, imagine they remake again Halo CE or Halo 2, which, you know, is the heyday right there, and that's what everybody gets into. It would also be really weird if they, in the next fall season, if they were like, we're going to play the game that came out 3 minutes ago. Like, it doesn't feel...
Yeah, the timing for the final is a bit off, but still, it's you know, we would assume that sort of thing would come out in the holiday.
Right.
We'd probably need an announcement in the first half of the year. So
Right.
I'm just speculating, but 25, they've already been teasing that it's going to be a big year. So could be cool.
Brandon.
Yeah, honestly, Derek.
Brandon, the only owner here of an Xbox Series X Halo Edition.
I know, Infinite. Big money on that. Big money.
When's the last time you turned it on?
I actually turn it on all the time to stream my PC to it. I have turned on my Xbox more in the past year than I have my PlayStation, I think, at this point. So,
wow.
But not to play Xbox games.
No. Only to stream my PC or to watch YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't think I've played a game on it since Forza Horizon came out for it. So
I'm sure you're being counted in the active player base in the
absolutely,
in the shareholder
absolutely.
update. So
absolutely. So I agree with you guys. I think it's going to be Halo CE. I mean, they already teased the Unreal Engine 5 stuff. I genuinely, wholeheartedly think next year we will be getting Halo Combat Evolved in Unreal Engine 5. I think that's what we're going to get. I would be willing to almost put money on it. I am very confident. Probably more confident than I should be. But I just have a feeling, man. I think that's going to be it. And I would love to see them just completely revamp it. I mean, obviously, Unreal Engine 5, we've seen what you can do. We've also seen all the problems that Unreal Engine 5 brings. So that kind of makes me a little bit nervous for Microsoft. Obviously, they have all of the resources in the world to kind of figure this stuff out. But because of the systemic problems that Unreal Engine 5 is bringing to most games, not to say they couldn't figure it out, but that makes me a little bit nervous for them. So how cool would it be next year for the Halo E series to have a new series, but it's for the first game of the series, a new competitive scene in Halo Combat Evolved in Unreal Engine 5. I think that'd be cool. And I think it makes sense. So, we've already seen the mock-ups of Chief in Unreal Engine 5. Derico says this, and I was going to say it as well. Remember when he was like, and next year we're going to have someone that's been with us from the beginning. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of like flirting with this, right? They've not exactly been very subtle. So I think we are in for something big, and I'd put money on what I said. So,
well, speaking of Unreal Engine 5, Wuchang came out, and it did not come out to very good reviews. According to The Gamer, Wuchang Fallen Feathers is already shaping up to be one of the biggest hits of the year. It's the second bestseller on Steam right now, and has reached a concurrent peak of over 100,000 players in its first day alone. Of course, this article was about a week old at this point. Take one look at the store page, however, and the cracks immediately start to show. The debut Souls-like from Lindsay, set in the ancient kingdom of Shu during the late Ming Dynasty, launched to overwhelmingly negative reviews on Steam, the lowest possible score you can get on the platform. Players decry that it's just another UE5 stutterfest, reporting that while it might be fun, the performance is so bad that they're either refunding the game or putting it down until it gets fixed. And then there's some quotes here from different reviews. You can go check those out on Steam if you want to. Aside from performance issues, a big complaint of a lot of players is to how the game looks, with reviews saying the graphics are terrible despite their high-end gaming rigs struggling to run it. But even if you manage to drag yourself through the stuttering and screen tears, plenty of reviews say that it's clunky and unresponsive and just feels really off. Combat needs more tuning, says one reviewer. I encountered the second main boss, and the combat is actually pretty mediocre. It's janky, and the enemy pattern is hard to even tell, especially when he stomps. With such drastic performance issues and an overwhelmingly negative anchor tied to its heel, it'll be interesting to see if Wuchang can keep momentum going. Let's check in on the live here. What are the Steam scores at right now?
It's like 8K concurrent right now.
Well, it's mixed. It's in mixed reviews. That's better than overwhelmingly negative. But it's still bad, because that typically means Steam's not going to give it any attention. Brandon, what are your thoughts on this? Did you have any interest in playing it? Are you going to play it now, especially that, all these issues? And what do you think is going to happen?
I did have a little bit of interest in playing this game. Honestly, I didn't even know it was coming out until I saw some of my Dark Souls, my Souls streamers playing it, and our buddy Brad playing it. I don't think I'm going to play it with the issues it's having. Nothing aggravates me more than a game that doesn't run. So this is like a no-go for me, especially with the comments of it kind of being unresponsive. That's such an integral part to the Souls-like experience, is the tight combat. So even though the game, in a lot of ways, and when I was watching people stream it, I mean, mind you, I was watching very popular streamers, so they probably have 5090s with a million things in their, multiple stream setups and stuff like that. But I didn't notice any issues from when they were playing. But I definitely am not going to invest the money in something that's clearly having problems. If we start to see articles in a couple of months that says they turned it around, possibly, but Souls-likes are a dime a dozen right now, and unless it's going to come out of the gate with a strong standing or have a unique take on it, I'm not really that interested. I'll just wait for Neo 3 or Dustbloods.
Yeah.
And I still need to play more Night Rain. You know what I mean? Like, I could play the original. So why would I play something that is a love letter to something when a broken love letter at that? one scribbled on parchment when I could just simply play the original. So not really too
Instead of
interested
reading the
here.
letter, you can just go talk to her in person.
Right, exactly.
There you go. Dave, what do you think?
I'm kind of wondering what this whole Unreal Engine 5 PC stuff is all about, because I feel like it's cropped up a number of times, and maybe it's just kind of early teething. This is still a relatively new engine, or if this is a sign of a bigger underlying problem that maybe Epic has to deal with. I don't know. At the end of the day, I think Epic's going to be just fine, because in a time when development costs are skyrocketing, there's going to be more and more developers who are looking for an engine that they can license that can make, AAA experiences. And if you want to make something like that, you got to go to Unreal Engine. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious to see how many more times we're going to see this. The review bombing sucks, but as you can see, Wuchang is already kind of rebounding from that. But yeah, I wonder what kind of like legal language is in the kind of agreement when you sign on to use Unreal Engine, where like, you cannot go after Epic if this kind of stuff happens. Obviously it's on the developer to do proper QA and testing, but it's like, how many more games are going to have their launches compromised because engines just aren't behaving the way that they think they should? And we just talked about Master Chief coming to Unreal Engine 5. Like, you can't screw that up. So yeah, but at the end of the day, I think Epic's going to be just fine. And this is probably just, again, these are still the relative early days of Unreal Engine. So hopefully we don't have to talk about this too much longer.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with all the above. It's definitely interesting because it's been a problem since the engine started being used, and we've seen it over and over. And it's very rarely like, is there going to be a problem with this UE5 game? It's what is the problem? And of course, it's almost always stuttering. Much like the RTX cards were in the 30 series, I believe. It was like, you're probably going to stutter if you're using an RTX card. RTX 30 card specifically. So hopefully they can get it sorted out, and those games will continue to be great games, because by all accounts, like, maybe Wuchang isn't everybody's cup of tea, but it's not a bad game. It's just bugged with performance issues. So moving on, Twisted Voxel says digital distribution platform itch.io has removed all adult games and books from its store, making them inaccessible to users. The decision to remove all adult games and books from itch.io was done due to restrictions from online payment processors. The front page of the digital distribution platform has left no trace of adult content, even for those who had opted to keep it visible. Not only can the platform's users no longer purchase adult games or books, those who had previously bought them will also no longer be able to download them or access them. They are likely to have been deleted permanently. The situation has been handled in a rather messy manner by itch.io, with no prior communication of this decision made to users or affected game creators. Horror visual novel Sweetest Monster Refrain developer, shared that her game was removed from the digital distribution platform without any kind of prior warning. Before the removal of adult content, itch.io featured a total of 28,144 not safe for work games. Currently, there's only a quarter of them, 7,008 to be exact, still available for purchase. That said, the platform didn't have much of a choice in this regard, as was also the case with Steam. These steps have hurriedly been taken by itch.io, likely due to direct takedown instructions from corporate payment processors such as Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, in compliance with the anti-pornography organizations. Had Steam and itch.io failed to do as payment processors instructed, they would have lost access to online payment processors. Without the availability of payment methods, the digital distribution platform would not have been able to accept transactions, etc., etc. Boys, this is an interesting story, because obviously it just happened to some extent with Steam as well. But the difference here is that itch.io seems to have removed a lot, and maybe that speaks to the type of content on that platform. I can't speak directly to that. A lot of their not safe for work games, whereas Steam targeted more specific games, mostly dealing with, we're not monetized, I don't care, incest and rape and things like that. It seems that those types of games were taken down. I want to know what you guys think about this, and then I also want to know what you think about what this could mean for the broader industry in general, and how we're beholden to different organizations, etc. Dave, I'll let you go first, because I know Brandon's got to take some time to be sad and process this.
Ben, now is the perfect time for the iron is hot. So a porn-specific payment processing. Let's get it out there, man. We've got 2 customers waiting for us right there. So,
I mean, if you could land,
dude, jerk pal, not PayPal, dude.
If you could land the equivalent of a porn payment processor for Steam and itch,
that would be huge.
You would be very wealthy.
Dude, that would be huge. Imagine if you could anonymously sign up for things and it would just show up as like you donated to a charity or something in your bank account just in case for like your wife or your husband.
That wouldn't lead to anything illegal, would it? That wouldn't be used in ways we didn't intend it to. Money launderers wouldn't want to use that for anything.
No, dude, this is, we'll talk after the show.
So just to be clear, I have no interest in doing this or participating anyway.
I think this story isn't so much. A lot of times when we talk about these kind of things, it becomes a cautionary tale about digital content ownership and that kind of stuff. But I think this is more a lesson in how not to do PR, because this all stinks of itch.io rushing to get a new sort of policy or procedure out the door to meet the needs of their payment processor, which is obviously a big deal. Like, your ability to process payments from customers is what keeps you in business. So if that's in jeopardy, then I understand why you might want to sort of abide by the rules. But it really seems like it's just kind of really did this hastily in an effort to kind of get ahead of this. But what they ended up doing was give themselves a lot of bad press. And I do think ultimately the people who purchase content will be able to find some process for which that they can retain that from the developers or distributors for which they purchase that. So in this case, they bought it through itch.io, but they were buying it from the developer. And, I think in a couple days, a couple weeks time, that there is going to be a resolution to this. And I just think that itch hadn't really figured out a process for which to kind of host that, because I understand the payment processors thing about not wanting to host NSFW content, but at the same time, you willingly processed a payment for somebody in the past for something. You have to kind of uphold that, and I don't think it's fair to obviously take content, whatever it is, away from people, obviously, if it's legal. So I don't know. I just think it's just kind of shot themselves in the foot here. They can do with whatever they want with their website. It's their site. They can host whatever they want. So I don't care if they only have family friendly stuff or only have porn, whatever. It's their site. They can do what they want. But the way in which they've gone about this is clear they're the wrong way, and they probably should have, figured things out a little bit before they put this out there. So
Brandon, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I looked up where itch was from, and they're from the United States. I also looked up where Visa was from, and Visa's headquarters is also in the United States. And I thought this was the United States and that we were allowed to pay money for porn games if we wanted to. But, apparently I was wrong. Communist Visa. Nasty Visa. They're nasty. Nobody wants to work with them anymore. Payment processing. This is just silly. I mean, truly, like, I get things that allude to illegal activities, but then it's kind of a slippery slope of like what can, like, is what the fuck is that drug game we just played?
Schedule 1.
Schedule 1. Like, I'm not saying that like rape and incest is anywhere close to like selling cocaine. It's a very different thing. But like what I'm saying is that like people made this game If you're going to give them the ability to sell it, and Dave makes a good point. If you've done it in the past, at least honor what you've given. Like don't take back what they've already bought. So that's kind of the problem here. And ultimately, I think that no matter what, these sort of things are going to exist in some sort of capacity. So if you don't want to work with them, then I don't know, bro. This is just silly to me. This is so silly. I'm going to go back to the This Is America argue because I see no problem with sites doing this sort of thing. And nobody thinks that Visa has anything to do with these games that are being put out. It just happens to be the payment processor that's being used. And I don't know why these companies, it's like Adpocalypse on YouTube. Like if you watched a video with someone saying the N-word in it in an incredibly racist way and you saw a Toyota ad beforehand, you would not think that Toyota was representing whatever is coming next in the video. It's completely separate. And I get the optics of it are bad, but like nobody with half a brain cell actually thinks that way.
Oh, but advertisers think that way. That's why YouTube started the push to not have people use certain profanity within the first 10 or so seconds of their videos. Was because they were trying to protect for advertisers that didn't
we
want.
did that last week, Ben.
Yeah, we got the cunt out of the way really early.
4 times, real fast.
It's
Nice.
it's deep enough into the show that the AI bots that scrub for the word cunt are not going to have listened to this much of the show.
Cool. Here's what I'll say. One, I want to give. I think Dave's right about Itch's PR move here. They could have done a lot better job at communicating this. They could have had a better plan. I think it sucks that Steam did this, whether their process was better or they eliminated less games, whatever. Ultimately, I don't care what consenting adults buy as long as it is legal. Whatever. You could have discussions about whether it should be legal or not. I don't care.
That's not the discussion. You know,
That's not the discussion. Yeah. My point is my thought here is it kind of sucks that at least with Itch that they took way more aggressive action than was necessary, or that Visa, MasterCard, all these payment processors were pushing because good intentions or bad intentions, whatever the case is, the group that was pushing for this issued a statement that was like, and again, maybe they're lying, maybe they're not, but we only cared about these specific types of games. I think it was an advocacy group for some particular issue. They only cared about these specific types of games, and Itch, for instance, or maybe it was Visa or MasterCard, whatever, took that to much more broadly as not safe for work. Which that sucks, first of all, for the people who were impacted negatively from that. But then the other thing is, like, I would imagine there are really rough sites that promote content that is pornographic in nature that you can pay for it with Visa, MasterCard, or some other credit.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. So like
Guaranteed.
they're promoting, or they're not promoting, but they're allowing payment to happen for these things. It's just that's what this advocacy group was pushing for, so that's where it got caught up. So yeah, I think Dave's overall point is a good one, that this negative backlash could have been avoided if Itch was just like, hey, we have to take this stuff down. If you bought it, we're going to restore it, but right now we don't have a solution. You're going to be without it for the next 90 days, potentially. We'll get it back to you. Cool. And maybe you'd still hear some ruffle, but from some people, but most people are going to be like, okay, I understand. If they had explained, if we don't take this away, we will no longer be able to make money and keep this platform going. If Steam had done the same, that would have been the case. Then I think the situation would be much less severe than it is currently. But right now it's like, oh, are they going to take my horror game with the boob in it away? It's like, no. But could they? Yeah, it's in their terms of service.
Yes, they could. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they can sell or not sell anything they want to.
Well, dude, the Gooner counterculture is so large and their mind is so warped that I don't believe that Visa or MasterCard, they might be able to brand this as a Gooner card, okay? Maybe we only process payment through this Goon card, and you can rack up Goon points. You could be like the Golden Goon, the Platinum Puller, the The bronze beater. Look. See, we already got it going. Get me in front of a board at somebody here, Dave. Dave, Ben, make it happen. Listen, I got a once in a lifetime opportunity for you. It just came across my desk. See,
now,
there's
I wonder,
so much untapped potential.
Who's the spokesperson for the Gooner card?
Probably Edward Walton. He's our resident anime NSFW correspondent.
I wonder.
I'm not blaming you, Edward. I'm not blaming you. You know your shit. That's all I'm saying.
I wonder if what will be the situation moving forward if Steam is like, okay, we're done with this type of game.
There's no way.
Or if they're like, we're going to come up with another solution.
No, they're making too much money off those games.
I told you the goon market is strong, bro.
I gotta look at something here. Let's see. What games did Steam remove?
I think it was just
of payment processors.
I think that there was one that even made headlines about the things you had mentioned earlier, the illegal sexual stuff that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Let's see here. I literally just asked ChatGPT because it's whatever. Why was it done? I don't need to know about that. Over 100 to 100 plus, 80 to 100 plus adult themed games. Many of these featured controversial themes such as incest, sexual violence, or content likely to trigger payment processor compliance flags. The policy known as Rule 15 now explicitly bars games that may violate the rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks and banks.
Wait, that was Rule 15?
It's Steam's Rule 15, apparently. Or maybe that's just what it's been dubbed. I don't know.
That's like almost half of Rule 34, dude. That's like, it's... If you double two Rule 15s and then you add 4, I guess we need to find out what Rule 4 is, but...
Okay, I want to ask it again. What's the difference between the games Steam removed and the games itch removed? Waiting.
If you got an itch, man, you just got to go to the doctor, get it taken care of. That's all you got to do.
Steam's removals targeted delisting of specific adult-themed games. Removal was focused, individually reviewed and removed games from its curated storefront after their policy update. Itch's response, mass de-indexing of thousands of titles tagged with not safe for work or LGBTQ, furry, adult, queer. Many works, including non-explicit ones, simply disappeared. Action was abrupt and broad, no advance notice. Itch launched a comprehensive audit and required creators to reclassify content. Affected works include marginalized creator content, such as safe for work LGBTQ plus titles. So I think that's where a lot of the uproar is too, is that it was just kind of a blanket. If it could fit into these categories, we're taking it down for right now. So, thanks, ChatGPT. Close you. You want to talk about what we've been playing?
Sure.
Brandon, since I assume this goes along with your games, this last news story, so you want to take it away?
Yeah, it doesn't. Not this time. Not this time. I haven't played any more Honey Pop in a minute. Honestly, that game is so frustrating. I played it for like 3 or 4 hours.
I bet it is, Brandon.
Dude, no, like, try it out yourself. I'll buy it for you. But I don't understand the game. I'm too dumb to understand this
Brandon,
like,
just move on.
No.
We don't need to hear about this again.
I'm angry, bro. I'm angry. I tried so hard. It's never enough. I played a bunch of games. I played a bunch of games this week, a lot, and I completed a lot of games. There was this game that was in. There was like a preview stage. It's now in early access. You could download the demo. It's called Dream Barbecue. It's like a action-ish adventure game, puzzle game. Very, very high strangeness. It's like an acid trip in like an 80s montage, neon, cyber surrealism. It truly doesn't make sense what you're looking at most of the time on the screen, but that's why I love it so much. I only played the first chapter, which is all that's available. The first chapter leads you into the first world, and there's roughly 3 worlds. At least that's how the game's set up. So I think there's going to be 2 more chapters, and I'm assuming at that point it will go into full release. It'll be a full price title. Full price for however much it goes for. I doubt it will actually be 60. But yeah, it was great, man. It was very, very, very strange. I would encourage anybody just to look at what this game looks like, and you'll know what I mean. It's like very surrealist. And I kept thinking to myself, what the fuck is going on every other moment? But for that reason, it was really cool. I hadn't played a game like that before where it was so just off the wall. But it was good. It was good. I'll be interested to see what this game has to bring going forward. It messed a lot with visuals and languages, and music. So that was cool.
Nice.
I also finally finished Dave the Diver. Props to this game. Honestly, there is so much content here. I was not aware of how much shit was in this game. I talked last week about how the game of Balatro is quite literally in the game of Dave the Diver. I didn't realize it was like I knew they collabed, but I didn't know the game itself was in the game. The same with Dredge. I finally made it to the Dredge content, and the game of Dredge, it's not quite as one-to-one as the Balatro stuff, but it's pretty close. The game of Dredge is in Dave the Diver, which is really fun because about a month or 2 ago, I was really, really digging the fuck out of Dredge. So I finally beat that. It's kind of glad to be done with it. But I checked out a game called Lawdle. Have you guys heard of this game?
Only when I saw you playing it.
So this was a game, 2-man development team. It was this guy's like senior thesis for his video game design or something like that, and they ended up making it into a full game. I think it might have been a Kickstarter game. You float around the ocean. There's like no combat whatsoever. You just have to manage how much air you have, and you clean up this world. So I spent about 6 or 7 hours, and I beat the game in one sitting, and it was wonderful. There's like breeding mechanics. You can get these things called lawdles. They almost look like axolotls, but you clean their environment, and then you pair different ones together, and some of them have like buffs and stuff they could give you, and then you could pop out new baby ones after you've cleaned the environment. So it was really cool, really, really chill. You don't have to aim or anything. It like auto aims for you, and there's no combat. So supremely chill game about cleaning the ocean, and was really quality. I'd recommend anyone check it out who's just trying to do something that's kind of mindless and kind of vibey. So super, super cool. And then I beat Leon's playthrough of Resident Evil 6, so I'm about a quarter of the way done. This game fucking sucks. I hate this game with everything in me. I was told that the Leon campaign was one of the better ones, and to that I must say, holy fuck, am I in for dog shit. So, non-spoilery, if you want to skip ahead because you don't want spoilers for Resident Evil 6, whatever, but the tutorial of the game is the end of Leon's campaign. I thought I was losing my fucking mind because I was doing the same thing that I had just done at the beginning of the story. Beat for beat, the same cutscenes. It has to be one of the laziest things that I've ever experienced in a video game of all time, especially to this caliber. It's insane. It's so fucking aggravating. And I had to stop playing it today because I was so aggravated. The continue you died screen came up, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm shutting it off for the day. I can't do it anymore. I'm in the Chris playthrough. I keep fucking running out of ammo, and most of the game is completely meaningless. Like, I will do something that it will make me walk over these obstacles. Nothing will even happen, and then I open a door, and then it loads into the next area. I'm like, there was no reason to do all this. Nothing. It's like the worst written action movie that I've ever experienced. It's not even good, like for the sake of being good. Like Fast and Furious, the first couple of them were just like pure action, pure fun. This is like a bad action movie. Not good. Very, very bad. So I'm not enjoying this very much. I'm having fun because I'm playing with somebody. That's the only shred of fun I'm having in this game whatsoever.
Who are you playing with?
Sarah.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought it for her.
Is Sarah liking it?
She had a lot of fun playing 5, which at this point, I will say that 6 makes 5 look like, a fucking masterpiece practically.
Yeah.
We're having fun playing together, but I don't think either one of us is having very much fun.
Gotcha.
And then popped in, played Slay the Spire for a bit. I've played about 12 or 13 hours of Slay the Spire now. I don't know why I randomly decided to try this game for the first time, because I've not tried a game like this before.
I popped open my computer, like I got back up out of bed at like 3:30 this morning and popped on my computer for just a second, and the little Steam thing popped up that said, Glorious Ginger is playing Slay the Spire. I'm like, why? It's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, honestly, I probably
or whatever
just left
time
my
it
laptop
was.
on. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it's great, man. I think it's wonderful. I've not really ever understood these type of games that are so like bashing your head against the wall. That's funny coming from someone who plays like Souls games, but in this format, I never really found it good. But I'm kind of getting addicted to the cycle. It's a little bit basic. I'll say that there's only 3 characters that I have unlocked, and I think there might only be 4 total in the game. Slay the Spire. There's no real story. The animations are very basic, and it's kind of simple. And I think that's why I kind of got into it a little bit more. I will say I kind of upped the ante. I did go ahead and buy Darkest Dungeon, and I played about 15 minutes of it last night. And I decided that it was way too late for how many stats were on the screen. So I turned it off. I will say out the gate, Darkest Dungeon is very clearly a more involved and like higher production value game, and that's kind of what I was looking for more in Slay the Spire. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't have anything to report on Darkest Dungeon, but I think it's a good next step in this type of game.
I think the beauty and the reason for the broad appeal of Slay the Spire is its simplicity.
Exactly.
It's good, but it's also not hard to figure out.
Right, exactly. It kind of got my feet wet, I guess, a little bit. So
yeah. Cool. Edward Walton wants to know Darkest Dungeon or Darkest Dungeon 2?
The first one. Didn't the second one come out kind of mixed?
I don't know.
But the first one was like, it's $25 or something on Steam. On CD Keys, I was throwing around the idea. I was like, I'm just going to see how much it is. It was less than $3 on CD Keys. And I'm like, okay. Yep, put it in the cart. It's mine now. All right.
Was it not already in our Steam library?
No, it wasn't. I was blown away. It wasn't.
That's
I just
crazy.
bought it. I just bought it last night, yeah.
Well, now it is. Dave.
Hi.
Would you like to talk about the games you've been playing?
Sure. Not much to talk about for me this week. I spent a little bit more time with Gran Turismo 7, and I've decided that I'm going to try and knock off the 2 circuit experience trophies. As you guys probably know from hearing me talk about Gran Turismo 7, I'm a big track guy. I really love the tracks and getting to know the tracks and getting really good and getting really fast at each one of the tracks, especially the ones that are featured on the F1 calendar. But and I love the cars too, but I'm circuit experience is a nice mode for me. And for those who don't know, circuit experience, it takes a track and it breaks it down into 3 sectors. So each one of the sectors you have to achieve a certain time, and then you have a 1 lap attack of the entire track. So it's a really nice way to get to know a track that maybe you're not as familiar with, or maybe a track that you are familiar with and you want to get better at. So there's 2 trophies in the game for circuit experience. One is Circuit Apprentice, where you need to complete 5 entire tracks for circuit experience. And then there's I think one called Circuit Expert, where you need to get 15. They're pretty easy because you don't need to get gold times in any of the sectors. You just need to complete them, which is a bronze time. So that's not too difficult. So I think I'm going to try and go after that over the next couple of weeks. And that'll bump up my playtime. So and the other thing I checked out briefly was last week and the week before, we had a number of news stories about how shitty Ubisoft has become. And I think Brandon and I were talking, and I think I recall saying we always have the old stuff, which is the good stuff from when Ubisoft was good. So I popped in Assassin's Creed 2 randomly into my 360. So not like the remaster version, because I was really just kind of curious to see how this game is aged. And I'm happy to say it's aged pretty well. Like, obviously the graphics are very 2000 and whatever year this came out.
8, I want to say.
2008. So like, the cutscenes are a little bit janky, but like the voice, I completely forgot Kristen Bell was in this game. And the character, I don't know if it was supposed to look like her, because I think this was before Kristen Bell kind of became a bigger actress, but the voice is, you can't not hear Kristen Bell now.
Yeah.
But I think the one thing is like the stiff parkour in terms of like when you want to run up this part of a building, the old Assassin's Creed game, sometimes the game thinks you want to like jump to the left or the right or jump back, and it's like that you really feel. And the funny thing is I don't think that Assassin's Creed has ever kind of fixed that. Like, it's gotten a little bit better flow, but generally speaking, that part of the parkour has always been a little bit kind of tanky. But it's okay, because Assassin's Creed 2 was one of the best games in the series when it came to just pure fun of just running around the city, running around along rooftops and along ledges and stuff like that. It just all looked so cool and felt so cool, and it tied in really well to the kind of, some of the races and side quests you were doing. So I think I'm going to play a little more, but I also kind of want to check out Black Flag, because obviously there's a lot of rumors about that coming, getting a remake. So it'd be cool to kind of check that out a little bit before playing a remake. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Nice. I forgot she was in that too, by the way.
Yeah.
But when you said it, I remembered. I think they killed her in one of the. She was in the first game.
She dies in the second game, I believe.
In Brotherhood.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the rumors at the time, and this is almost 20 years ago, so who knows if it was true, was that they killed her off because they were mad at her for wanting royalties on her appearance.
Interesting.
Something like that. For me, I've been playing some more Hunt this week. Nothing really new to say there. I've been playing Warzone. I don't know why I just got an itch to jump in and play some Warzone. So I've probably played 4 or 5 matches so far, but it's got me itching. I don't know if it's for more Warzone. I will say that my buddy Justin and I have been playing the casual BR mode, which is supposed to have some bots in it and some real players. And boy howdy, if that's casual, I am way too old for regular Battle Royale in Warzone anymore. Because it is sweaty. I'm also way out of practice, but it's still crazy. I'm playing a little game called One Man's Trash, and I don't know why, because it's fine. The game is good. I like these mindless sim games, but it's basically it's very similar to a game about digging a hole. It's a lot longer, and there's more stuff to find, more things to explore, more enemies, that kind of stuff. But if you've played a game about digging a hole, you've played One Man's Trash, except in a shorter experience. I like it. I'm having a fine time with it, but it's very much a game where it's mindless digging. And because I can't just dig and dig to the bottom, I'm digging consistently the same level as I go down. So I'm eliminating all the dirt, and it is taking me a long time. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun. I can't recommend it to anyone unless you really love mindless sim games like that. But the real thing I've been playing is Donkey Kong Bonanza. And this game is beautiful in almost every way. It's a fantastic soundtrack. It looks really good. It plays super well on the Switch too. And it is just so much joy is the best way I can describe it. Now, I will say if you're like me and you got a little bit of OCD, and by the way, this came out, I started playing this the day it came out. That's been almost 2 weeks now. If you got a little bit of OCD, it might be a nightmare for you, because all I want to do is destroy every piece of destructible environment that is absolutely possible so that I can get every morsel out of it. That is not the way you should play this game, because I think I spent like way too long on the very first level. Way too long. I will say about this game, like, if you like Super Mario Odyssey, you're going to love the way this game plays. If you like Donkey Kong at all, you'll like it. But just having the ability to destroy everything as well is not really what I was expecting, because I saw this game was announced and I never looked at another thing about it, so I didn't know that was going to be there. But yeah, you can destroy everything around you. A lot of fun. I will say the one thing that bugs me about it a little bit is sometimes the camera gets a little bit wonky. And part of that is because, like I said, you can dig under the environments and destroy all the environments around you. And so sometimes the camera just doesn't know what to do, and you end up like under Donkey Kong's foot or in his butthole or something. And so the camera can be a little bit wild. But overall, it's a fantastic time. At some point, I'm just going to have to say, okay, I'm mainlining this now, because right now I'm like, oh, let me find every possible little collectible that you can, or every little unlocked thing. And that is not the way to play this game on a first playthrough, in my opinion. But I love it. Derek said, I just made it to, actually, first he said, ooh, banana. And then he said, I just made it to the post game, got like 600 bananas. It's peak. Yeah, it's really good. I'm not sure what kind of replay value this would have unless you did just mainline it. Because so much of the fun I'm having right now is exploring, but once you've explored, just play it. Actually play it the way they meant for you to play it and mainline it. But it's nice because there's a lot of content. You know, a lot of times platformer Nintendo games especially are relatively short. And this one, I think there's plenty of replay value for it if you want to go back and get all the collectibles and everything. And that's it. That's all we've got for this fantastically mediocre episode of the HP podcast.
Bruh.
Don't forget you can support us over at patreon.com/handsomephantom. We appreciate having your support there, as well as you hanging out with us in the Discord at handsomephantom.com/discord. Boys, anything else to say before we head out?
I love you all.
Love you a long time. Goodbye, everyone.